Hello there, I'm Marilyn Franklin, Dr. Marilyn Franklin, sometimes called Dr. F, and I want to teach you medical terminology the easy way. There are lots of different ways to learn medical terminology, or lots of other things for that matter, and it's always nice if you can come across a method that is the easy method. We're going to be learning 4 root words today. One of those was hystero. Another one is cardio, another one dermato, and finally hepato. So hystero, cardio, dermato, hepato. You may know that cardio means heart. Again, we have a slash for the O. Sometimes we're going to use cardi and put our suffix on it. Other times we might use cardio and put the suffix on it. Same thing for dermato, same thing for hepato. Now, these are in all different systems. At some point, we're going to start learning our medical terms as groups of words in a particular organ system, such as digestive and what have you. But right now, the commonality of these terms is that I thought they would all be somewhat more familiar to you. So let's look at a word that, some words that are built on the suffix ectomy. Remember what ectomy means? It means removal of, surgical removal of. If they do a cardiectomy, that means they would remove the heart. Let's think about that for a minute. That doesn't sound like something you would like to have, does it? But the thing is, let's say someone is on life support, and so they're going to harvest the organs. They're going to have to do a cardiectomy, right? So that's removal of the heart. Dermatectomy would be removal of skin, hopefully not all of it. Perhaps they're going to do a dermatectomy and send a little tissue sample to the lab to make sure you don't have cancer or what have you. Hepatectomy, meaning removal of the liver. Again, they might be harvesting a liver and removing all of it, or they might be removing about 30% of the liver to do for a person to donate a portion of their liver to another human being. So, but in every case, ectomy means removal, okay? So the neat thing is that every time you see ectomy, it's going to retain its meaning of removal. Every time you see cardi or cardio, it is going to be heart, dermo or dermato skin, hepat or hepato liver. Now you may be thinking, so there's a lot of different root words I could have chosen. Why did I choose those particular ones? Well, I'll tell you why. I chose these because I thought they would be most familiar to you. In other words, how many of you, oh, there's the teacher in me. I can't see your hands. You can raise them anyway if you like. But I was about to say, how many of you have heard of a cardiogram? I think most people have probably heard of that, cardiogram. And so that means something having to do with the heart. But in this case, we're not removing the heart. We're taking a record or an image of the heart. In fact, an electrical image of the heart or the activity of the heart. You know what an Instagram is. That's a picture. So a cardiogram is like a picture. I felt like you would know the word hepatitis. Hepatitis is an inflammation or infection of the liver. You know how serious a disease that is. But I think since that's a common word, I chose hepatitis as one of our words that we were going to use as sort of a prototype for our initial learning. Every time you say hepat, it means liver, though. So hepatitis is going to be liver infection. Every time you say itis, it means infection or inflammation. So inflammation of the liver. I chose dermatology because I think a lot of folks know what dermatology is, the study of the skin. If you don't know that one, it's not too hard to remember to realize that dermatologist is a physician that studies the skin or treats skin conditions. So I felt like that would be an easy prototype as well. So we have record of the heart, infection of the liver, study of the skin. So I call these mobile elements. These are root words. Cardi, hepat, and dermato are root words. On the end are called suffixes. And they're mobile because you can move them around, and the great thing is everywhere you put them, they're going to retain their meaning. So every word you see ending in logi is study of. Every word you see ending in logist is one who studies. So that would be the physician doing the treating or the studying. So hysterectomy was that word that meant removal of the womb. Hystera or hystero meant uterus or womb. I'm going to probably be calling it the uterus because that's a more medical sounding word, but at any rate, and then ectomy, surgical removal. I've written hyster/o because sometimes we're going to use hyster and put that onto the suffix. Other times we're going to use hystero and put it on with the suffix. And so those are fine points that you'll learn a little bit later. But removal of the uterus is what that word means. Bonus information. Other root words for uterus are metro and utero. So it kind of makes sense that utero would be one because uterus comes from the root word utero. You may not have known about metro or metro, but you might have heard of a condition called endometriosis. So if you put a prefix endo and you put endometriosis, and we're going to block that out. Endometriosis, well heck, y'all hold on. Sorry about this. Endometriosis means a condition in which you have endometrial tissue in abnormal locations in your body. It's supposed to be the inside lining of your uterus, and yet for some people that tissue is found in their lungs or abdominal cavities, lots of different places in the body. And if you have had this disease, then you know how difficult that condition can be. But the reason I bring that up is that METR also means uterus. Endo means inside. So the inside lining of the uterus, condition in which it is found in abnormal locations in the body. So we're going to be using all three of those root words today, but mainly we'll use hystero. It makes things really fun and not as difficult. If you had to learn myocarditis, endocarditis, pericarditis, endometritis, myometritis, if you had to learn each of those 5 words from scratch, so to speak, you might say, oh my gosh, that's hard. That's very difficult. And then one day you might say, oh, every time I see mitra, it means uterus. Oh, that makes it easy. Every time I'm seeing itis, it means inflammation. You see, so some folks don't ever get to that point. They don't give it a chance, I guess, and they say, oh, I'll never learn this, it's too hard. And they won't, I guess, listen to you when you try to tell them this is actually pretty easy. You put in a little bit of work, you get a huge return on your investment. So here are some of these are the suffixes that we have looked at today. And so I made little cards, and I was going to put prefixes in front of them. So we have, I don't know if you can see, but cardiac, pertaining to the heart. Cardiology, study of the heart. Cardiologist, one who studies the heart. Cardiotomy, to cut into the heart. Cardiectomy, to remove the heart. Carditis, inflammation of the heart. Cardiogram, image of electrical activity of the heart. Cardiopathy, heart disease. Cardiomegaly, heart enlargement. Cardialgia, cardiodynia, heart pain. See how that works? And so we can take, I have all the other root words done as well. I'm not going to go through all of them because we've kind of gone through them already, but watch this. Let's see. Hepatic, meaning pertaining to the liver. We didn't cover those, but I think those are pretty common. You know that in general terminology, regular English, you can put IC or AL on the end of a word and it makes it into an adjective. Hepatology, for study of liver. Hepatologist, one who studies the liver. Hepatotomy, to cut into the liver. Hepatectomy, removing the liver. Hepatitis, inflammation of liver. Hepatogram, an x-ray of the liver. Hepatopathy would be liver disease. Hepatomegaly, enlarged liver. And hepatalgia, pain coming from the liver area. Okay, so I do have the rest of the words made, but I don't think it's going to be that necessary. Let me just do a couple. Hysteric leaves a little to be desired. I don't want to go there actually. But look at this. Hysterology would be study of the uterus. Hysterologist, one who studies the uterus. What do we normally call this person? OBGYN, right? Obstetrics and gynecology specialist. But technically speaking, literally speaking, this would be someone who studies the uterus. Hysterotomy, to cut into the uterus. Hysterectomy, to remove the uterus. Hysteritis, or metritis, remember that one? I don't think, yeah. Metritis would be inflammation of the uterus. So on and so forth. So what I'd like you to do at the end of this lesson, and after you've had a Diet Coke or something good to drink, I'd like you to sit down and notice that you learned 4 root words, plus a couple of more root words. And those other couple would be path, or patho, and let's see, what was the other one? Oh geez, I can't think. There's another one I sneaked in there. Oh, phleb, for vein. So I guess that makes 6 root words in all. About 10 or 11 suffixes. So if you just multiply 6 times 11, that's 66 words that you have learned to make just in this short amount of time, with this small amount of effort. If you add those prefixes on there, you'll see that you've learned even more words. I don't know too many times in which you can learn 66 or 70 individual words in less than 30 minutes, but you can and you will. Now here's the thing, don't become discouraged. What if you didn't know cardio meant heart? Who cares? You know it now, okay? You never heard of hepatitis. It's okay. You've heard of it now. And just allow these words to, just to analyze them. You're going to look at a word and say, hepat means liver. Ology means study of. This is study of the liver. So on and so forth. So before our next lesson, I would really like you to know these words simply because we're going to keep going. The good news is when we talk about, say, the bone, let's look at the bone for a moment. Bone is oste or osteo. So we would be talking about osteology. Osteology, study of bone. Osteotomy, to cut out a bone, cut into a bone. Osteotomy, to cut into a bone. Osteectomy. Removal of a bone. Now, usually we're not going to use 2 E's together, and yet in this particular case we will. It kind of depends. These are fine points that you may learn about later on, but right now you don't worry about it so much. But if you had osteopathy, that would be bone disease. See how that works? So by now you probably know 7 medical terms. So learn your 10 or so suffixes, learn those 3 or 4 prefixes, and learn that little handful of root words. And we're going to be ready to put some more root words onto these suffixes and learn a few new suffixes at the same time. Then we'll go back and take hyster, hepat, etc., and put them with our new prefixes. So we're going to be reviewing constantly. We're going to be playing some little games and what have you, and I think you're going to enjoy this. It is really one of the most rewarding classes I ever took. It's probably one of the more helpful classes that I ever took. So I hope you have a good evening, and please be looking for my next video in about a week, and I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.